Your podcast is not even about you, okay? A lot of people start podcasts with very selfish intentions, and that's the reason why you're not making money. Hey friends, hey, welcome back to the show. Today's episode is another solo episode with me, your host, Nikayla, and I am going to be talking about something that is near and dear to my heart, and that's the topic of podcast monetization. Specifically, I want to talk about why your podcast is not making money and what you should do about it. So some background on me, if this is your first time listening or seeing me over here on the YouTube streets, I am Nikayla Matthews Okome. I am the host of the Side Hustle Pro podcast, which is a top business and entrepreneurship podcast. I started it in 2016. I was able to scale my revenue and quit my full-time job by December 2017 to become a full-time podcaster, and I've been doing that ever since. My main revenue streams are both brand partnerships and sponsorships, as well as selling my own courses and having my own VIP programs and one-on-one coaching. So there you have it in a nutshell, right? Now let's talk about why you're not making money. So first of all, what I really want to focus on today is I'll share what's not happening and then what you can do to fix it. So I hope that doesn't come off too negative, but I just want you to know that you really have to face directly what you're not doing correctly in order to fix it. So that's the approach that we're taking today. So first things first, one of the main things that is preventing you from making money is the setup phase of your podcast. The setup phase for your podcast is so very important. You can't make money down the line if your content isn't good, if the overall premise of your show isn't good, if you don't know who you're talking to. All these things need to be squared away first. So let's start with the fundamentals. So number one, the reason why your podcast is not making money is because you think your podcast needs to showcase every topic under the sun you want to talk about. Your podcast is not a catch-all. Repeat after me. I coach so many students inside of my program, Podcast Moguls, or in my one-on-one VIP coaching. And the thing that takes us the most time to narrow down is what they want to talk about. And it's because we feel like, oh my God, we're multi-passionate. We could talk about this. We could talk about that. How in the world am I going to narrow it down on my podcast? Your podcast is not your everything, okay? You can be good at several things. You can have different kind of life experiences, but that's not going to be branded well. That's not going to be marketable. Okay. I'm Nikayla. I am a side hustler. I'm a mom. I'm someone who loves hair and lifestyle, creating content around that. If I tried to make a podcast about all those things, entrepreneurship plus motherhood plus lifestyle and hair content, that's doing too much. I have to have different channels to address all the different things. Now, if I really wanted to do it, I could probably find some unifying thread that would make it doable. But the people who you see doing things like that are people who had an audience already, right? They're a personality who people love. And so they will come along with you if you want to create a channel or a podcast that touches on all these facets of your life. But it's very rare. So don't look at podcasts that seem like they're all over the place and try to model that. That's not going to work from you if you're starting from scratch, if you're building your audience from scratch. You have got to guide people to what it is that your show is about. But before we even get there, you've got to guide yourself. You've got to guide yourself and hone in on the question that I ask the most of my podcast moguls. What do you want to be known for? What do you want to be known for? Because before you get paid, you have to be known for something, right? So people will pay me to do a sponsorship about business related products, or even a product that people who are listening to my show, because I know my audience, will likely buy, even if it's a lifestyle product, because I know my audience. But if I am all over the place, they won't come calling because they need to know what I'm known for. And before they can know what I'm known for, I determined that. I wanted to be someone who was known for entrepreneurship, side hustling, and marketing-based content. So when I say marketing, it's social media marketing about building your business presence online. So it's not just any kind of marketing. So I became clear about what I wanted to do and what my verticals are. And then I went out to the world. So similarly, you have to do that before you can get paid. In line with that is number 2. And the reason why your podcast isn't making money is you think your podcast needs to promote every skill and passion that you have. So this is another one that I work to hone in and help people to hone in when I coach them is, okay, so let's decide that you want to be known for a few things. Now you're starting to throw everything, oh, Nikayla, but I do this, and Nikayla, I do that. No. Your podcast is not even about you. Okay. We're going to get to that in a second. Your podcast is not about you. Did you know that? So a lot of people start podcasts with very selfish intentions. And that's the reason why you're not making money. You can't make money if you decided to start a self-serving platform that you think people will just flock to because you want a podcast to promote yourself and sell your things. Nobody's sitting around like, oh, I can't wait to hear what Nikayla's doing and what she's selling me today. Like, that's not what they're thinking. They want to learn. I want to know how Nikayla runs her business. I want to know how this guest got to be where they are. And in the process of that, if you want to suggest something that can help me with my business, sure, I'll consider it. Like, if I'm going to share with you the fact that I've been doing this podcast via video for the last 3 years, and I use this platform called Riverside FM. And if you want a podcast and do a video podcast for the low and not have to get studio time, you can use Riverside too. And you can use my code Hustle Pro and get 10% off any plan. I could tell you that, and I would be very much for real and not even trying to promote anything. Yes, it's my affiliate link, but also it's real deal Holyfield, what works for me and what has allowed my podcast to scale to 10 million downloads. So that makes sense. You understand what I'm saying? It doesn't make sense to say, I am an attorney. I want to sell my attorney packages and also my different templates for this and this and that. So I am going to start a podcast all about me and what I do. And yes, I'll discuss different things, but mainly I'm only thinking through the lens of how to promote my business. Boring. Boring. Let's talk about topics that people care about. Let's talk about story-based content. At the end of the day, people pop in a podcast in their ear or they watch a podcast for entertainment. And you think about podcasting, you should think about it, first of all, it's media, and think about it like any other medium. When I pop on something on TV, on Netflix, I'm popping it on for a reason. I either want to laugh, cry, be, scared under my covers, or just learn something like through a documentary, right? Or something about business. So if you think about these different things that people want to do, that's why you should be starting your podcast. And if your business weaves into that organically, the rest will take care of itself. But it's about who you want to talk to. So let's get into the who. You can't make money if you're more focused on what you want to talk about and the brand you want to build than what your audience wants to hear. Your audience is who matters. Your audience is how you grow your show, understanding who would listen to this and why do they want to listen to this and what does that person need. Your podcast exists purely and sincerely to serve that need. And when I use the language serve, sometimes people get a little confused because you're like, well, when I listen and I just kiki and laugh with some of my favorite shows, they're not serving me. They're just entertaining me. Yes, that is service. Yes, that is service. Why? Because life is hard enough. We need moments of pure laughter. And so that podcast that's just humorous or just lifestyle, pure, like veg out, gossip, whatever it is, it's serving the need of giving you stress relief, giving you a moment of joy away from all the seriousness in life. And so that is the same way you have to approach your podcast. So those podcasts that are lifestyle based or comedy or humor based, now they're able to make money because they've tapped into what their audience needs. They say, we're going to make a show about XYZ. These are the topics that we're going to cover on the show. We're going to focus on lifestyle as it relates to adulting or motherhood or corporate America while Black, or just figuring out all these different aspects of life, whether it's finance, health, dating. Once they have told their audience what it's about, they've then given their audience the opportunity to opt in and say, oh, When I need my fix about health and fitness, I'm going to check out that episode and that show. When I need my fix about business and building my funnels and getting my side hustle up and running, I'm going to go to this show. And once you've let your audience know what they can come to you for, when they're in the mood for that, they're going to come to you for that. And again, you make money because you're able to then serve your audience with what they need in that context, whether it's a sponsored read or whether it's a service you're then going to provide. Maybe it's a wellness retreat. Maybe it's a writing retreat. My podcast mogul student, Lori Tharps, she talks about in her episode on this show, we did a student spotlight for podcast moguls. And she talks about the fact that once she really honed in on the fact that her audience were writers, fellow writers, BIPOC writers who were trying to figure out this world and how to make money, because you know what, they always have the cliche of starving artists. Like, it's not easy to be a writer and to figure out, how do I actually make money? And she's written tons of books and ghostwritten tons of books, and she knows how to make money. So she said, you know what? Not only do I enjoy talking about this, but I also want to help people. So now, boom, you have awesome content that people are opting to listen to because these writers, her audience, they want to become better writers and they want to become better business minded writers. And she is able to also sell services like her retreat that's actually helping them. So many times people, they hear the word sell, and that's why I use it so frequently, especially in this episode, and they get weirded out by selling. Everybody needs to sell in order to make money. Selling is not a bad thing. Selling people false promises or selling people things they don't need is a bad thing, but selling people something that they want or need is a good thing. So now let's get into the next thing that might be hindering you from making money. And that is, you don't have a content plan. You're just winging it. You're just out here. You said, I got the vibes to start this podcast. And every week you're inspired by something else. Oh, maybe I should talk about that. Oh, maybe I should talk about this. You have not sat down and thought through what your episodes will be for the rest of this year into next year. I like to map out, even if it changes, what a full year of episodes could look like. And if I can't get to a full year, then what the next 6 months of episodes would be called and what topics would I want to focus on. And once you do that, that is your blueprint, your guide for helping you navigate who you reach out to, what you outline, the things that you research to bring information back to your listeners. You can't just be out here winging it. So winging it with your podcast is akin to, have you ever seen how much fitness content we get inundated with on social media? And if you aren't careful, you're like, oh, I'll do that workout today. Ooh, that one looks cool for abs. Let me do that ab workout tomorrow. And because you're dibbling and dabbling and you didn't take the time to even see, okay, what's this person's program? I know I can't spot reduce any area of fat. So why am I dibbling and dabbling? I need to truly say, all right, this is the program I want to do. I want to focus on strength training, or I want to focus on cardiovascular, whatever it is. You have to spend at least 21 days or even more than that focused on a program. You can't just dibble and dabble. Similarly with podcasting, you can't just dibble and dabble in your content because it will be unfocused and it will look unfocused. And what will happen is someone may tune into an episode, but then they'll click over to your full show overview with all your episodes and they'll be like, this was a cool episode, but this podcast is not really for me. One week she's talking about investing, Bitcoin. The next week she's talking about motherhood. The next week she's talking about influencing. It's just all over the place. So I might every once in a while dibble and dabble, but I'm not going to be a subscriber because I don't think this is for me. I don't know what the show is about. You want people to not only listen to your episodes when they come across it, but also go over to the overview of your show, immediately understand, immediately see themselves, and then say, oh, I want to subscribe because I want to make sure I'm notified when the next episode drops. So that's what happens when you have a clear content plan. So you see what I'm saying with these fundamentals? These are fundamental things that podcasters overlook, and then they get further down the line. They're a year in, 6 months into making content. And because all these things were not optimized and built strategically, they're wondering, hey, why am I not making money? You're not making money because people don't know what your show's about, who it's for, or what you do. And so why would brands pay you, or why would people pay you, right? let's talk about the last 4 things that prevent you from making money. So number 5 is you're not marketing your episodes well enough. Marketing is exhaustive. You should feel spent. You should spend time sitting and thinking through your marketing plan. It's not just putting up a quick graphic, hey, new episode. It's not just sending a quick email. It's an overall cohesive plan. So you need to market your episodes well enough so that your show can grow, your listener base can grow, your regular downloads can grow. If you hope to monetize your episode based on downloads, but we'll get to that in a second. And in addition to not marketing your episodes well enough, you are not marketing your episodes consistently enough. Ooh, this is going to rustle some feathers. Is it rustle? I don't know. Sometimes I get my words mixed up. But it's not just one post, friends. It's not just one post. So when you see me just posting 1 or 2 posts for an episode, that's based on bandwidth. But that's not how I started out and grew Side Hustle Pro to 10 million downloads. I grew Side Hustle Pro to 10 million downloads by making sure you could not come across my social media profiles without knowing that Nikayla has a podcast called Side Hustle Pro, and this was the last person she just interviewed. Every single time an episode drops, you have to treat it like it's the first week, like you are launching your podcast. I'm talking about you get real estate on every single social media platform that makes sense for your audience. I'm not telling you to go on Pinterest or Threads if that's not for you. Don't stretch yourself. But the main one, the core powerful social media platforms that are still thriving, yes, Facebook, yes, LinkedIn, yes, Instagram, yes, Twitter, yes, TikTok. All right. Make sure that you have real estate on these platforms. And with LinkedIn, it could be just your personal. You don't have to set up a brand page. And then every single time an episode drops, you are posting in a story-based format a rundown of what that episode is about. If you're doing the video component, which I assume most of you are these days, especially when Riverside makes it that easy, right? So if you're doing that, then you are taking a snippet of your episode. With Riverside, you can do magic clips. So it clips it for you, all right? Or you can do the time codes yourself and say, hey, I want this clip from this part to this part. Make it a reel, post it on TikTok, post it on Facebook, post it on LinkedIn, post it on Twitter, and then also start building up your email list. So start with your network. Say, hey, I'm launching this podcast. Do you want to opt in to get alerts? Cool. Have them sign up to get notified every time you drop. If you're intimidated by email lists, start by doing it manually and then build up, get yourself comfortable with using an email platform such as ConvertKit. That's the one I use. Or you can use MailChimp. You can use any email platform, right? And every time an email drops, send it out to your list. Okay, send it out to your list. Oh, by the way, use YouTube Shorts as well. I don't utilize it enough, but that's about to change. So you need to market consistently and exhaustively. Marketing is not just about the post itself, but it's about amplification of the post. It's continued amplification. It's thinking about it as almost marketing until you're blue in the face, because even though you think you're annoying people, they're not seeing your posts. Most people, they're not on LinkedIn every day. They're not on Instagram every day. And when they are on it, they're seeing Instagram is now prioritizing your favorites again. So they're seeing the people they engage with the most. So you have to do a little more legwork to make sure you're getting in front of people. So you have to market consistently. And then let's get into the actual money piece of this. And I'll go back and make sure that I shared tips as well, because I know I was talking about the problem, but I want to also make sure you know and understand how to fix it. So number 7 is you're only focusing on traditional podcast sponsorships and not thinking outside the box. What I mean by traditional podcast sponsorship is that typically, I would say definitely before the top of this year, when there was a big iOS shift that really tanked a lot of people's downloads. I talked about this in my episode about relaunching Podcast Moguls 2.0. So there was a big shakeup in the podcast industry. And so now I am not focused on download-based sponsorships alone, because that is a losing game, because you don't have enough control in that. You need to focus on what you can control, which is multi-channel sponsorships. So if you have less downloads and you've done all the fundamental steps that I talked about, and you still have lower downloads, so lower meaning like maybe you have under 1,000 per episode, just like not thousands and thousands of downloads each and every month, you can do a couple things. You need to be thinking about packaging. packaging and then pitching. So packaging, what you can provide a sponsor. You can provide maybe an Instagram, a TikTok, and then an email, a dedicated email, right? Or you can bring someone on as your launch sponsor if you haven't launched yet. Or you can have someone opt in to be a premier. You can have packages as far as platinum, silver, gold sponsorship, what have you. Offer them a really good bulk deal, kind of like a wholesale deal of all your episodes. But this is something that you have to be really serious about podcasting to do, because you have to make sure that you are definitely going to hit all the episodes that you promised them in this package. But if you think outside the box, you think of different ways to get paid on the sponsorship side. And then also you can think about different ways to sell services or sell products. So, you know how we talked about what you want to be known for? Now that you want to be known for that thing, how can you take what you know and offer it as a service? So back to my example of Lori. Lori started out by she wanted to first and foremost quit her job. She was a tenured professor in Philadelphia, I believe. Tenured professor, just got tired of that kind of track and said, I really want to move to Spain with my family. What would that look like? You know, paying off debt, saving, and being able to support myself in this totally new country. So she then started to think of revenue streams. And she's already has a revenue stream as a ghostwriter and as a writer, but how could she opt that even more and have the podcast pay for itself? Well, there are people who are listening to the podcast who want to do what she has done. So it's like, okay, why don't I teach you how to do that? And some of you guys, you might not want to do a course. You might not want to do these traditional things. That's okay. Think about what would feel good for you. Would a weekend getting together in a small group feel good for you to just like have people come, you download to them everything you know, and they leave feeling like, yes, I got everything. Sometimes I think about that, right? I really like for people to get everything they want out of me. So you come with your questions. Make sure you know what you really want from me before we have coaching. And then you come and I will tell you it all. You want to know my numbers? You want to know what I said when I paid? Sure. Here you go. Here you go. I want you to be happy. Right. So I do charge for that in my coaching, but I could do a weekend and have, a cohort session come just for a weekend. So I don't have to put that together in a new course or something. Think about what feels good for you. So what feels good for Lori is inviting people to beautiful Spain countryside, having activities, and then we get down to business. And by the way, I interviewed Lori on the show, and then one podcast moguls that I have in the program who also listens to the show, and then one of my great good friends from business school both went to the retreat. So isn't that amazing? Like, I'm so happy that I can share something with people that they want, but also when you get clear on what you want to be known for, it's easier for you to tell people what you do and what you're known for. And then it's easy for you to be paid. So because Lori got so clear, she had been in Podcast Moguls for a few years. She started with a completely different podcast. It was not targeted. It was called My American Melting Pot. You don't know what it is from the name. You don't know what it's about. You don't know who it's for. You think maybe it's about history or immigration. I don't know, right? When she got clear and she relaunched a completely different podcast, the Read, Write, Create podcast, then I'm like, of course I want to talk to you. Of course I want you on the show. It makes so much sense to me what you do now. I love how you side hustled and was able to quit your job, move to Spain, and now you do this all because of your podcast. And because she's clear, she makes money because she told people what she does on the show and they wanted to pay her. They reached out, they hit that link, they signed up for her retreat. That's what you got to do as well. There are many ways to make money podcasting. You can sell merch. You can have a Patreon or some kind of private community where you provide people with extra knowledge or behind the scenes or just bonus content and also other bonuses for a fee. You can sell your own books. You can sell your own courses. You can do retreats. You can do trainings. As I'm saying these things, what excites you? Think about that. And then let's work and get you towards that. All right. And then the last thing, tip number 8, why you're not making money podcasting is you're not making something that people want to pay you for. Don't get mad at me. I'm just telling you why you're not making money, okay? If you made something and nobody is buying it, then they don't want to pay you for that. They do not want to pay you for that. Let's go back to the drawing board. Sometimes we overlook what we're good at because we take it for granted. And so now here you are being inauthentic by putting something out in the universe and saying, hey, you can get such and such from me. And people are like, actually, I want to know how you do that thing. I want to know how you do that. Teach me that. I'll pay you for that. And that's kind of similar to what happened to me. I tested out many revenue streams when I started Side Hustle Pro podcast. And the thing that I kept getting questions about were podcast questions. How did you launch your podcast? How did you market your podcast? How did you grow your podcast so fast? How did you quit your job to podcast? All these questions kept coming my way. And I said, you know what? I am just going to create a course and break it all down. And so that's what I did. And that's how Podcast Moguls came to be. So I've had people say, hey, you're Side Hustle Pro, you promote your Podcast Moguls course. And the Podcast Moguls course came so organically from my audience. It's not something I set out to do initially. So that just goes to show you what comes from knowing your audience and listening to your audience. Now, I'm not saying everyone that listens to Side Hustle Pro wants to start a podcast. By no means am I saying that. However, it's important to tap into the needs that your audience has so I can serve different needs, especially while I'm figuring out what I want to create to help people in a particular space. So I am still deciding how I want to package my side hustle knowledge, right? Do I want to do another course? Do I want to do a book? Do I want to do retreats? What have you? I'm still working that out, just to be transparent. And as I learn what I want to do, I will share it with you guys. But it's going to make sense because I'm going to listen to my audience and I'm going to take feedback, and it's going to be based on what you need. And so that is what you need to do as well. So in order to replace your full-time income and become a professional podcaster like I've done, here are the 4 things you need to do in sum. Number 1, get clear on who your audience is. Number 2, get clear on what your audience wants. Step 3, create what they want. And 4, charge for it. In order to do this, you can do a couple things. You can do calls, which I encourage students to do inside of Podcast Moguls. You could do a survey, reach out to people who are listening, do a call to action right inside of your podcast episodes or in your dedicated emails on social, wherever, and get some information. Get information. Ask people, why do they listen? What do they hope to learn from you? What would they want to learn from you? What do they want to buy from you? Sometimes we rack our brain trying to figure things out, and all you have to do is ask. There are people who are willing to tell you. All you have to do is ask. The nuance with this, though, is make sure that you're not too easily swayed. Take information and look for the trends. If you talk to 10 people and one person randomly says, well, I think you're doing this wrong and blah, 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 don't get too carried away with one person's opinion. Look for trends, because people's opinions, they are based in fact sometimes, but most of all, they're just based from their lens and their lived experience. So you have to be careful to collect data, but look for trends, not individual opinions that send you down a rabbit hole in one way. If someone's like, well, you're doing it all wrong and your show, that happens to some of my students as well. Like someone's like, well, your show is too long. And it's like, you might not be my core listener, because the people, when I look at my stats, they're listening through to this much. Or when I do a short episode, they're letting me know, hey, why is this episode so short? So make sure that you are not just switching up your whole game plan because of one person. So now let's quickly recap again why your podcast isn't making money and how to fix it. Let me go through each step and what you should do to fix it. Number 1, you think your podcast needs to showcase every topic under the sun you want to talk about? No. Number 1, get clear on the main topic that you want your podcast to be about. Number 2, you think your podcast needs to promote every skill and passion you have. Again, get clear on which skill and passions you want to promote. Number 3, you're more focused on what you want to talk about and the brand you want to build than what your audience wants to hear. Instead of doing that, get clear on who your audience is and what they want to hear and what they need. Your podcast is in service to them, not to you. Number 4, you don't have a content plan. You're just winging it. Sit down, write out your content for the year, Make sure that you are thinking through what your podcast is going to be about, what you're going to cover. Number 5, you're not marketing your episodes well enough. Make sure that you are marketing your episodes. And number 5, you're not marketing your episodes consistently enough. Make sure that you are marketing your episodes each and every time across all platforms, and you're treating every episode like it is the first episode. Number 7, you're only focusing on traditional podcast sponsorships and not thinking outside the box. Think about packages. Think about different things you can do. Podcast monetization, it's still a very, very young area, and there's room for creativity. There are no rules. It truly is still the Wild Wild West, and things change all the time. So you have to be willing to be flexible and adapt. And then number 8, you're not making something people want to pay for. Reevaluate how you're trying to make money, and then revisit who your audience is and what they want to pay for. So get clear on who your audience is, get clear on what your audience wants, create what they want, and charge for it. So I'm teaching you how to make money from your podcast without a lot of downloads or a big audience in my next live class happening on July 18th. Register at sidehustlepro.co/class, and we can get even more into the details. So I'll see you then, and I'll talk to you next week. Hey guys, thanks for listening to Side Hustle Pro. If you like the show, be sure to subscribe, rate, and review on Apple Podcasts. It helps other side hustlers just like you to find the show. And if you want to hear more from me, you can follow me on Instagram at Side Hustle Pro. Plus, sign up for my 6-bullet Saturday newsletter at sidehustlepro.co/newsletter. When you sign up, you will receive weekly nuggets from me, including what I'm up to, personal lessons, and my business tip of the week. Again, that's sidehustlepro.co/newsletter to sign up. Talk to you soon.